Here's my review of Project Hail Mary. I thought that this was a really good movie. I think it's definitely one of the best movies of the year so far. And this is a movie that just it does what great sci-fi movies should do, and it puts you in awe, but also allows you to feel personally connected with these characters. And in this movie, we follow a school teacher named Ryland Grace who is recruited to go on a space mission to stop the sun from going out. But what makes this movie so good, I think, is the editing and the way the story is told, because it kind of flips around in the time where the beginning of the movie we start with him not really knowing what's going on. He doesn't know why he's here. And throughout the course of the movie, we keep getting flashbacks to see, okay, this is why he's here. That's going on because of this. And it's all just done very well. And when you have an actor as charismatic, as likable, as funny as Ryan Gosling in this movie, it just works. And I think that this movie does a really good job of making us feel scared and making us know the stakes. Because we get to know more about Ryland Grace throughout this movie, like we get to know, okay, that he's a school teacher. It allows us to just feel so connected with him. And when he's explaining to the students what's going on with the sun, and like they get really worried, and then he has to like reassure them, well, it's not going to happen for decades from now. But we know we are with like Ryland on this, and we know like, well, yeah, but we don't know if that's necessarily true. And decades from now really isn't that long when you think about it. And it allows it, but I think even with such a dark subject matter, like the sun is dying, what are we doing to stop it? This movie is still so bright and optimistic and just so much fun. You can't really talk about this movie without talking about Rocky. I mean, it's all over the trailers, like you know that. And yeah, his relationship and dynamic with Rocky is what makes this movie. When he meets Rocky on this alien planet, like just them learning how to communicate, learning each other's language is just so compelling. Like I'm just enjoying watching the two of them sit down together and just have a conversation. Him explaining what things are in life and on the human world, and as opposed to in what Rocky's doing with his world, and how they're both there for the same reason. And I think that this movie does a really good job of making me feel genuinely emotional over this Rocky alien creature, even though it doesn't even have a face. But it does such a good job. It made me feel so sad when we hear and learn more about Rocky. And that's what makes this movie great, is the characters. They're just so compelling and interesting. And it makes the stakes feel that much bigger because we care so much about these characters. And I think that the flashbacks, like this movie does a really good job of it being vague, of us not really knowing what Ryland is. And when we see flashes of his memory of him, okay, he's a school teacher, and then we do flashback, okay, how does he become a school teacher to working for NASA to go on this? It just makes it so compelling, and we are never in one area long enough where we kind of get bored of it, but we are there long enough where we are connected to all of it. It's just got a great pacing as well as just great back and forth between Ryland in space versus Ryland on Earth. And it's all just so compelling. And I think that this movie does a really good job of also just, from the very beginning and when he wakes up, it just makes you feel so sick and confused. He's got this long beard. These things are touching him with his face, shaving him automatically and stuff. Like, he's got this feeding tube in. He's got this catheter, all this stuff that just makes you feel, oh, it's so uncomfortable. I'm so intrigued. What's going on? And I think that's what this movie does really well. I think it's like, obviously, the marketing for this movie, it does kind of give away a lot of the story. But I feel like this is a movie where you can go into not knowing anything about, and it's just going to provide almost such a great, not necessarily mystery, but it will keep surprising you with new things. It'll have you on the edge of your seat knowing, ooh, what's coming next? I really like what's going on. I like that I don't know what's going on. and I want to learn more about it. And that's what this movie does so well. And I think this movie also does what I think the author of the book, Andy Weir, who also is the author of The Martian, which is a book I really liked and a movie I really liked, he's able to make science compelling. There's so many moments where he's like Rylan, the character, is just talking. We're just going over math and science and biology and all this different nerdy stuff, but I'm so interested in it because of the way it's told within the story. And when we have, like I said, I do think this is a movie that is very much, in a way, it is carried by Ryan Gosling. And that's not to say, like, the story is still good, but I think this is one of those things where if we didn't have such a great actor as Ryland Grace, maybe the character himself wouldn't be as interesting. But fortunately, we do have a great actor. Ryland Grace is a compelling character, and Ryan Gosling is giving a really compelling performance, and he just makes it feel so genuine. Also, we just got to talk about the cinematography in this movie. It's absolutely gorgeous. There are so many beautiful shots. Whether he's walking in space to see all these beautiful stars, it's constantly filled with great imagery that just puts you in awe of how gorgeous this movie is. I think, like, this is another beautiful shot, and there's so many shots like this that just put you in awe of, like, wow, I want to hang this on my wall and look at it because it's just so beautiful. But not to say that the plot itself, like the plot here is good, but what I loved so much about this movie is really just the dynamic between Ryland Grace and Rocky. Them sitting down, discussing science, like discussing each other's linguistics, learning how to communicate. It's just so compelling because both of these characters are so great, and I think that I was still able to feel like so sad learning about Rocky, learning about his species. And I feel like so sad for him, but at the same time, and then I'm laughing at one moment. I think this movie does a great job of being very funny, but also being very emotional. And I think it balances the tones very well. And I think that was another thing that, like I said, could go back to The Martian and Andy Weir with the books. That's the thing I think that this author does so well, and that what his books are able to do is they're able to be very emotional, but also be very funny. It's great with tone. And I think that this movie it's really what a lot of people are saying. Like, this is a great feel-good movie. It's very funny. It has a incredibly compelling plot. It has great characters. And it's a movie that's like, okay, we're trying to save the world. How are we going to do it? Well, we're going to do it with science. But the science here is so compelling. And a lot of the stuff that you've already heard about this movie, it's all true. Like, yes, it is just a feel-good movie. Maybe I could see some people why it would be their favorite movie of the year, but I could also maybe see why someone could be disappointed saying, okay, it does kind of hit a lot of the great beats, but maybe it didn't wow me with, like, because it does feel, in a way, it feels like it's almost crafted to be a 4-quadrant movie, which, I mean, is a good thing, because I think the average person will enjoy this, including myself. But, I mean, if you really wanted to poke some holes, you could say maybe some of the emotion feels a little forced. But I never personally felt that way because I just enjoyed these characters so much. I enjoyed Ryland Grace so much. I enjoyed Rocky. And I think that Sandra Hüller's character is fantastic as well. All the performances here are great. And the way this movie ends, I thought, was just beautiful as well. So overall, I think this was a really enjoyable movie. I highly recommend it. Great sci-fi movie, and definitely one of the best movies of the year. It was really fun, really good.